Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. It's been a while, hasn't it, since the last episode of the podcast, and this weekend there's not many League One games of football. A lot of games have been postponed in League One because of international call-ups. So I thought, what sort of podcast episode could I bring you today? Of course, the last one was the Sheffield Wednesday matchday experience, and it went down really well with you, so thank you so much everybody that watched that, and obviously you can still watch that now. However, in this one, I thought, what could we do? And I decided to do my League One team of the season so far. I know it has only been about 11 games. I wanted to look at those, these first 11 games of the season, who have been the real standout performers, and put them in a starting 11. Each position, I've gone with a 4-4-2 formation, and I've decided to put who I think basically has been the best. I tried to get a real variety of different teams as well. I don't think I've got I think a maximum of 2 from the same club, so I had tried to really vary it and really sort of spread it across as many different clubs in League One as I possibly can, so hopefully you can understand why I've done that, try and get a real vary of players across this team. Also, I want to hear from you in the comments down below. There's been a lot of standout performers in League One this season. Of course, only picking 11 is very difficult, so please make sure you leave in the comments down below some contenders that you maybe would have put in as well. Tell me where I'm wrong, tell me hopefully where I get some of them right as well. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? And please make sure also you hit that like button as well. Hitting that like button will be much appreciated. Also subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the podcast would be absolutely fantastic. You'll be notified when I go live or do a recorded episode just like this one. Let's not mess about. Let's get straight into it. Starting off in goal, and I've gone with the Portsmouth goalkeeper, Gavin Bazuna. And I've had a few goalkeepers, and I think they've got it's Alex Bass also the goalkeeper, but Bazuna's played the most amount of games for Portsmouth in the net this season. He's had that international call-up for, I believe, Ireland. I saved that Ronaldo penalty, I believe. So he really is sort of getting himself in the headlines in football so far this season. I believe he's on loan from Manchester City as well. But he's kept 4 clean sheets this season. I know that is sort of the entirety of the defence of Portsmouth as well. So it's not just him, but he is the goalkeeper that has kept 4 clean sheets for Portsmouth this season. He's also got the highest save score average rating across all the goalkeepers in the division, sat at a 7.26. He's also played 10 games this season, has an average percentage of saves per game at 77%. So to be honest with you, when you think after 10 games, the amount of saves, the amount of shots you're going at it as a goalkeeper, especially Portsmouth as well, who aren't, let's be honest, no disrespect, they're not high-flying at the moment. They are sort of having games where they have won, they have losses, and they have been quite inconsistent. Still having a goalkeeper with 77% average saves per game, it's very impressive. So I thought the goalkeeper, looking at those stats, looking at how well he's done this season, I think Gavin Bazuna so far, I think is going to go into this team of the season after 11 games / 10 games. Some teams have played 10. They'll probably catch up after the teams that are still playing today. But yeah, Gavin Bazuna from Portsmouth is going to be my goalkeeper. And then moving on to left back, then I've gone with Joe Jacobson of Wycombe Wanderers. Already 4 goal contributions this season, 1 goal and 3 assists. He's got 3 SofaScore Team of the Week appearances as well. He's played every minute in 10 starts so far this season. He kept 2 clean sheets in that fullback position, although he is quite an attacking forward. He does like to get forward. You can see with those goal contributions, he does like to get forward and help with those goals and attacks. He also is part of a defence, so you do have to bear in mind those defending stats as well. So 2 clean sheets is not a bad return. He's averaging 1.9 interceptions per game and also an 80% successful dribbles. I'm going to be honest with you, successful dribble percentages are very, generally very low. You think about how many dribbles players make, generally how many times a ball is intercepted or that dribble just doesn't fabricate into something successful. 80% is a very successful, very successful dribble percentage. So I've gone with Joe Jacobson as my left back in my team of the season so far. Then moving on to the first centre-back, I haven't gone the left side centre-back or a right side centre-back. I haven't gone that detail, I apologise. I've just gone with the 2 best centre-backs, I think, so far this season. Maybe not best in terms of they may have been the most obvious choices, but I've gone with players that really have stood out when I'm looking at these statistics. So I'll bear that in mind as well. I mean, normally though, if they have got some really good statistics, they have been probably the best in that position so far this season. Of course, I've gone with Jack Whatmough of Wigan Athletic, an average rating so far this season of 7.27. A goal to his name as well. So for a centre half, getting in with the goals as well, helping with those goal contributions. It might only be 1 for a centre back. That isn't your job, and to get that 1 goal is very important and very significant as well. He's also got an 80% pass accuracy in both halves, so averaging 5.2 clearances per game and 1.4 interceptions per game. He's got a 67% total duels won as well, which for a centre back that includes ground, aerial, So you got two big parts of the dual defensive one-on-one one-on-one stats then to get 67% total duels. One that's not bad at all for a defender. The amount of duels you're going to be facing per game, that is a pretty impressive statistic. So I've gone with Jack Whatmough of Wigan Athletic as my one of my two centre backs. Moving on to my second centre-back, I've gone with Will Boyle of Cheltenham. A great start to the season for the Rock at the back for Cheltenham Town this season. They have looked very, very good at times. I mean, they've beaten Oxford United 1-0 at the game. It was an embarrassing defeat for Oxford United, but not because, and that doesn't, don't mean that disrespectfully towards Cheltenham Town. To be honest with you, on the day they performed, and Will Boyle performed on the day as well. He looked very, very comfortable on the ball. He looked very, very good at playing out from the back as well. He was shielding the ball out very, very well. He was composed. And I think all of that with a defender at this level, I think he's got all the attributes to go on and be a very, very good defender in this league. Great start season, like I've already mentioned. A goal and an assist already this season as well. So again, another defender like Jack Whatmough, the defensive partner in my team of the season, getting in with those goal contributions. He's got one team of the week appearance as well. 4.6 clearances per game. Also 1.8 tackles per game as well. 71% total duels won. Again, like I said, ground duels won, and average rating of 7.24. So some really, really good stats there. Some really, really good. I mean, I'm picking out that one about the clearances per game. 4.6 clearances per game as well. Now, again, no disrespect to Cheltenham, you are going to have more clearances to probably deal with because teams are going to go and attack Cheltenham more than, let's say, a Sheffield Wednesday, a Sunderland or a Wigan, for example. But either way, if you're dealing with that, it doesn't matter. And that clearances stat there is very, very good for a centre-half. Will Boyle, you're in my team, next to Jack Whatmough as the two centre-backs. And finally, the final defender in my team this season so far, after 11 games of this League One campaign, I've gone with Max Power of Wigan Athletic, playing his foot at right back this season. Of course, he played a lot of games in midfield, captain for Sunderland last season and for the few seasons prior to that. I said that Max Power going to Wigan was probably quite a big loss for Sunderland, look at it from face value. However, I spoke to a few Sunderland fans about it, and they said he wasn't actually that great last season when you actually delve deep into it. However, playing at right back this season, he looks like he has done an incredible job. 1 goal and 4 assists, so 5 goal contributions at right back. I mean, he probably has played minutes and parts of games, maybe he started games. I haven't looked into the exact details of where he's played, but generally he's played at a right back position this season. And generally, when you look at those goal contributions of 5, that's very, very impressive from that position. It's not a bad return at all, but 5 big chances created in total as well. 73% pass accuracy, which is not a bad pass accuracy whatsoever. 1.2 tackles per game as well, so defensively with that stat as well, you're looking very, very solid. Generally, Max Power playing at right back for Wigan Athletic this season has been a very, very good player. That makes up my back 4, including the goalkeeper, technically back 5. Right, moving on to the midfielders then. We've gone with a 4-4-2. So we're going to do the 2 centre midfielders and then left mid, right mid, and then the 2 strikers. So we're not going to go in normal order, if that makes sense, because I have sort of gone defenders, midfielders, forwards. In fact, I actually originally went with a 4-3-3, hence that's sort of why that's the case as well. I went with the left wing and right wing. Obviously, we're not looking at positions in too much detail, but what I would say is I got to, when I was picking the formation, because the formation is actually quite important because you want to try and get the best and players and try and mould them into the best team possible. I actually found that having to go to a 4-4-2, and I'll explain more into more detail, but as we come on to more into the 4 positions, I think when we look at the amount of quality so far this season, the formation had to it had to be the right one so we could fit all of the best players in basically. But anyway, in moving on to midfielders, I've gone with Scott Twine of MK Dons, and he has been incredible so far this season. He's got the highest average rating so far this season out of every player in the division, currently sat at 7.76. That is an incredible average rating. When you think about it, 7 is obviously a very, very good average rating, 6 is average. 7.76 after 11 games of football is absolutely sublime. A fantastic start to the season for him. 6 goals and 2 assists from midfielders, 8 goal contributions in 11 games, 7 big chances created, and an averaging a 3.2 key passes per game stat as well. So he's really coming in there with some amazing key passes per game. Key passes are basically, this I don't want to sort of patch it in a more patronising way, but sometimes actually breaking down these stats are important as well. Big chance created comes down to XG, and key passes comes down to a pass that basically should, based on XG as well, I mean, it's quite difficult to explain, but that does also come down to XG and also a dangerous pass, a threatening pass that can cause issues for a defence, basically. So a very, very significant pass that could lead to a goal, basically, is the best way of describing it. 79% pass accuracy for a midfielder is also very, very impressive. 70% successful dribbles as well, when you think about it, in that midfield, running at players, actually, getting hold of the ball. You think about midfielders, and like Scott Twine, you look at those goals and assists so far this season, he's obviously taking players on, he's obviously taking risks, so get a dribbling rating of a 70% as well percentage is very, very impressive. Just an all-round wonderful start for him of the 2021-2022 campaign. Scott Twine is my first midfielder in this team of MK Dons, a fantastic player so far this season. If he can keep playing the way he is, MK Dons have got an amazing player on their hands. Scott Twine is looking absolutely fantastic so far this season. Right then, the Oxford United, the first Oxford United edition of this team, and I've gone with James Henry in midfield. Now, 5 goals and 1 assist this season. He's Oxford United's current top goal scorer. Like I said, 6 goal contributions in 11 games. You can't really be blaming, blaming him too much for that. You can't really be criticising someone for that. I mean, 6 goal contributions in that amount of games is very, very good. 2 big chances created as well. 79% accuracy, 79% accurate passes per game. Obviously, got a very, very good pass accuracy. 1.4 key passes per game, 70% successful dribbles, 2 team of the week appearances, 3 shots per game as well. So he has a very, very good. Obviously, I have had the pleasure of watching James Henry. I've watched a few of these players. I've watched. I was going to name a player they haven't mentioned yet, but I have watched him. I've watched. I've watched Will Boyle play this season. I've watched Joe Jacobson play this season out of the others. So I haven't watched too many of the players so far, but I have watched those 2 players, and generally they have looked very, very good. I'm not just saying it, I have seen them and looked, they look the piece, they look the business, to be honest with you. But with James Henry, I get the pleasure of watching him week in, week out. I get to watch him every single week. And James Henry has been fantastic so far this season. We don't know how much game time he's going to get. He is obviously 32 years of age. I think actually maybe even 33. I don't know. I apologise, James Henry. I want to say 32. I'll say 32 to just be safe and not offend him too much. But I've been very, very impressed with him. We didn't know at that age how much game time, how much of an important player was going to be this season. We know James Henry is always going to be an important player, but how much is he going to be playing? How much of a significant player is he going to be when it comes to game time as well? It turns out, I mean, he has rested. He has been, he has played games. He has started games on the bench. I think only one, to be fair, and that was Sheffield Wednesday. Actually came on to score an amazing, wonderful, absolute away day limbs. That's the last episode of the podcast. Score winner against Sheffield Wednesday. That was probably the only game I think he was benched so far this season. He has looked very, very, very good. And I've got to be honest with you, I think he's been a player that, honestly, when we've had our low moments, I think he has always stood out. And now we're sort of getting back and winning games. We'll talk about hat-trick against Lincoln City. It was a fantastic highlight for him this season as well. Like I said, that crucial last-minute winner against Sheffield Wednesday. So he has been very, very important so far this season for Oxford United. James Henry has been fantastic. He's on our team of the season. And, that's the only reason I think... I don't want to be too biased, but that is definitely a reason, I think, to have James Henry in my team of the season so far. Right, moving on to then the left midfielders and right midfielders, or left wings, right wings, however you want to look at it. Either way, I've gone with Oladapo Afolayan. Of course, Dapo by the Bolton fans he's known as, and that was a player I have had the actual pleasure of watching so far this season. He has been, he played against us and scored against us. He scored a very, very nice goal from outside the box. Took a chance, took an effort. Maybe even taking a bit of a risk with the strike from outside the box. He maybe could have passed it on. He didn't. He took a pass and he scored the goal. Cracking start to the season for Dapo. 6 goals this season and 2 team of the week appearances. 1 big chance created from the left midfielder or left winger, if you like, as well. 2 key passes created and a 70% accuracy when it comes to passing as well. 3.6 shots per game is also a very, very good stat when you look at going forward, taking chances, taking risks, taking shots. He has looked very, very good so far this season. So Oladapo Afolayan of Bolton Wanderers is my player that's going to get into that team this season so far. He's looked very, very good. 6 goals this season is going to be a very, very important stat. Like I said, also 2 team of the week appearances. He looks very, very good. A frightening, lethal, exciting winger. I'm sure will do much more for Bolton Wanderers as we progress through, as we continue so far this season. Right, moving then to the next wide player, and I've gone with Anthony Scully of Lincoln City. I have watched Anthony Scully so far play this season. I believe I did. I believe he played against Oxford United at home. I know they had a few injuries that day and a few players that were off ill. I don't know whether Anthony Scully was one of them. I want to say he wasn't. I do think I did watch. I might be completely wrong. But either way, whether I watched him or not, I mean, he has been fantastic in those games, hasn't he? 10 goal contributions in 11 starts so far this season. That's absolutely fantastic. And also, that's 7 goals and 3 assists. Now, he has been taking penalties, but still, to have that responsibility of taking penalties and converting those penalties is a very, very big responsibility. He's actually won quite a few penalties as well this season. I believe he won that in the last game. He also went on to convert the penalty as well. So he's been very, very good at converting penalties, but also, they haven't all been penalties as well. He has been very, very good with those goal contributions in those 11 starts this season. 6 big chances created. He's not just scoring goals, he's not being contributed in goals, he's also creating massive chances for Lincoln City, his fellow Lincoln City teammates. 2 key passes per game on average as well, a 77% pass accuracy, an average rating of 7.37. Also 2 Team of the Week appearances due down to SofaScore. A very, very exciting and electric starts to campaign for Anthony Scully. Hopefully for him, he can kick on, have a very, very good rest of the season for Lincoln City. I'm sure he will. He's looked very, very good so far this season. And yeah, I look forward to seeing more of Anthony Scully. That makes up my midfield. That makes up my midfield 4, if you like, of James Henry and Scott Twine in midfield, and then the wide players of Dapo and Anthony Scully. Right, let's move on to my 2 strikers. I've gone the 4-4-2, the very, very English Brexit, sort of very, very Bob standard, if you like, traditional. I'm trying to think of all the adjectives to describe a 4-4-2. The 2 strikers, and the first one being Cole Stockton of Morecambe. A lethal starter for Morecambe this season. 9 goals and 2 assists in 11 games isn't a bad start for a newly promoted team's number 9, is it? When you get promoted, when you get put in a League One, you get put in the division, you need a goal-scoring player. You need someone you can rely on. You need someone that you know is going to hit the back of the net, get you off and running, and Cole Stockton has done that fantastically well so far this season. Like I said, 9 goals and 2 assists in 11 games so far this season is a fantastic stat to have. One of the huge reasons why Morecambe have been very, very good so far this season. A lot of people, I mean, me included, I thought that Morecambe would look very, very, look pretty obvious from day dot, really, to go down. I respect they've surprised me. Fair enough. I don't blame them. Congratulations, Morecambe. You look very, very good so far this season, and Cole Stockton is a massive reason for that. Only 1 big chance it's missed as well. If you think about it, for a striker, that's not bad, really. That isn't bad at all. I mean, I know it's 1 big chance missed. Sounds quite a negative stat to point out, but it's actually, look at it from a positive perspective, a striker's going to be getting the most amount of chance normally than any other player in the team. So when you miss 1 big chance as your number 9 so far this season, does show his lethal and clinical edge. 3.1 shots per game as well, and an average of 1.4 shots on target per game. So getting those shots off, creating those chances, and also converting very, very well in front of goal. A lethal striker, very, very clinical. He's done fantastically so far this season. He definitely deserves to get in my team of the season so far. Cole Stockman of Morecambe gets in the team. Right then, moving on to the final player, and this player, of course, is our first Sunderland player and the only Sunderland player. I'm pretty sure the only team we've done more of one is Wigan Athletic with Max Power and Jack Whatmough. But Ross Stewart, the Sunderland man, he has done very, very well this season. Actually, now I can explain a bit more of that formation. I think I explained it horrifically earlier in the podcast. When we went with that 4-3-3 originally, I got to the point where we've had some fantastic number 9s. I wanted to get Cole Stockton in, and I wanted to get Ross Stewart in. I couldn't get them both, and obviously with that 4-3-3, so I thought I'm going to sacrifice a midfielder. I mean, not to say there hasn't been more than 2 good midfielders, isn't there? There's a tremendous amount of players in midfield doing very, very well, but I wanted to get these 2 players in up front, and Ross Stewart was one of them. 7 goals this season, already in 10 starts, 3.1 shots per game, with 1.5 of them being on target as well, so very, very good when it goes to shots on target. 1.4 key passes per game, 3 Team of the Week appearances down to SofaScore as well, and that isn't easy. I mentioned SofaScore Team of the Week a few times. SofaScore basically is a statistic website where I get a lot of my statistics, a lot of my data from, and to get in that Team of the Week, you do have to be very, very good statistically, and also I think it's down to sometimes, I think it's down to fan vote as well, but generally to get in that Team of the Week, he has been very, very impressive, and Ross Stewart definitely proved to be a fantastic player to get into that Team of the Week, week in, week out. It sounds, a lot of weeks there, but it has. a crucial goal against Cheltenham as well. 2 goals and a 5-0 win. He's got 2 crucial goals at home to Wycombe Wanderers as well. Big shoes to fill after the departure, of course, target man Charlie Wyke. I made my opinion Charlie Wyke pretty quickly when I said moving to Wigan could be a massive loss for Sunderland. A lot of people said it maybe not a bigger loss as made out from an outside perspective. Well, either way, you've replaced him fantastically well. Ross Stewart looks very, very good. A clinical number 9, a clinical striker. Fair play to you as well. So important goals, hopefully for them. He can continue those important goals to set you off for a very, very exciting promotion-winning campaign. Sunderland, up to sort of the last defeat they had, have looked very, very good so far this season. Ross Stewart has been a huge reason why that has been the case. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my starting 11. That is my team of the season so far after 11 games. It is quite early days, but based on stats, I wanted to make a podcast episode this weekend. Not much football being played. No Oxford United match reaction or match reviews. No predictions video because there hasn't been enough games to do. So generally I thought, what can we bring out? And this has been the one. So in total, in conclusion, Gavin Bazuna is in goal for Portsmouth. At left back on with Joe Jacobson, Jack Whatmough and Will Boyle make up the back 2 of defenders. Or centre half, should I say. Max Power making up the full defence list at right back. Scott Twine and James Henry make up the midfield with Oladapo, Afolayan on that left hand side. Anthony Scully on the right. And then a front 2 of Cole Stockton and Ross Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that has been my podcast. It has been my podcast episode. It has been my podcast episode. It's not been yours, it's been mine, but you've been watching it, so technically it's yours as well. That has been my team of the season so far. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, give your thoughts in the comments down below what you have done differently to my team of the season so far. I want to hear from you. Your opinions are very, very much important in this podcast. We're replying to all of those comments as per usual. The interaction on the podcast is what makes it what it is. So thank you so much for that interaction as per usual. I can't wait to hear from you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. Take care, stay safe. I'll see you very, very soon.